Hi guys, it's Jamie here, and in a minute we're going to go back to the past to see how this art journal spread was made, the prompt that was used, the techniques that were used, the materials that were used to create this effect, to get this gold on here, to get the halo effect, and so on. Oh, even the decision design background layering process. If that kind of thing interests you, art journaling, learning about doing collage art at this slightly different level to normal junk journals, different take on it, then do give this channel a subscribe, give it a like so other people can see it, and when you've watched the video, let me know what you think in the comments. And now let's go back to the past. We're going to do another art journal project. I've mostly stuck the book pieces down upside down. Doesn't really matter, this is just the background, and to be honest, by the time we finish you won't even see it. Today we are answering the question, what or who am I beneath all my roles? Going bright colours of course with this collage to answer this question. And we'll grab a brush of some sort. I've now switched to using just decorators brushes, mostly. It's not just the speed, it's cost. These are better value. We're going to go several layered treatments here. And I'm not worrying quite so much about how many videos I get up each week like I used to. It has dropped a little bit, but then what I'm doing takes longer. And it might go up some weeks as well. It depends on, I have a few work deadlines that I have to hit when you start to get towards Christmas, so that we're not all working Christmas Day. So I have more work to do in sort of paid work. And then of course I have actual journals that I need to get done for birthdays and Christmas. So it's slowing down a little bit. I've still got a massive list of inspirational ideas, but it might be that they have to wait a little bit while I get on top of some of the other stuff I'm doing. We now need to let that dry down a little bit, but you see how nice and see-through that is. There was a point to that. All right, I have my scraps of paper here. If you watched the videos on the playlist, you'll have seen that this was part of a Gucci advert. I don't think that's going to fit in there, is it? How annoying. Right, I'm just going to do it this way then. I want to cover all the page anyway, and we are going to stick the next layer down, which is just lots and lots of these very brightly coloured pieces. Just wherever, there's no plan, just wherever they fit, all going the same sort of direction, I suppose. That is a plan. And then when these are down, again, another dry time will be required. I was having a little think about what colour I wanted to do next, and I want to keep vibrant because this is all to do with the family, India. I'm part Indian, part Danish, part Scottish, part Welsh, and I'm putting this on quite deliberately with a plastic card this time because I want different colours to show through in different places, and I don't want it to be as regular as a brush. I want to highlight or grab where the ridges are, particularly here. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, family history. Yeah, part Indian, part Danish, part Scottish, part Welsh. Now, the Indian family, very interestingly, were Brahmin. The surname is actually from Goa, but I only know a bit of the history, and that was from Pune, which is not in Goa. And I know that my great-grandmother ran away from her first husband, her arranged marriage, which was quite a thing to do when you were Indian Brahmin, even now, let alone back in late Victorian, early Edwardian times, and met my great grandfather, who, although she used his name, etc., they never married because she was married to someone else. Anyway, in 1919 we had the worldwide flu that killed off more people than the First World War, and killed off as a result a lot of the family died. My great grandfather, most of my grandfather's brothers and sisters, the only survivors out of a family of, I don't know, 9-ish, were my grandfather, his brother and his mother, the woman who ran away from her first husband. Now, obviously, in India at the time, 1919, you cannot survive without your husband's income or your partner's income. So she managed to save their lives by knocking at the door of a Christian mission in the town and offering to do domestic labour for them if they provided food and accommodation and education, very important to a Brahmin, for her 2 sons. And they agreed, and that's how she managed to save everyone's life. When they got to about 14, 15, so they'd been there quite a few years by then, my grandfather and his brother, they, as a thank you to the Christian missionaries, I think, or the Christian mission, converted to Christianity. And the brother and my grandfather ended up going to Cambridge University, helped obviously by the mission, to study theology. And the brother returned back to India, but my grandfather stayed in the UK and became a Church of England vicar, the first Church of England vicar of Indian descent, or probably any colour other than white. So that is where the Indian side of the family come in. How is this relevant to this picture? Well, it's relevant because with the who are you outside of your roles, if you're not in any of your roles like mother, business owner, I don't know what else, bottle washer, slave, who are you? And I thought, well, we'll look at the family roots to get at least one picture, if not 2. We might do a second one on the same question another day, obviously. And I don't know if you're aware, but it's certainly not from my part of India, but the Romani people actually come from northern India, so not Goa, northern India. And I thought, at heart, I'm not Romani, obviously, but I am free-spirited, liberal thinker, kind of into boho, love all that stuff, love obviously my prints and my bright colours, and so I thought, well, we can play with that, can't we? We can play with Romani, as used to be called gypsy. I mean, I think you can still use it when you're talking about boho, and play with the Indian heritage to create a art project that refers to all of that, a spirit, the spirit of the gypsy or the Romani, in the very traditional sense, the colours and the wagons and that type of thing. I'm going to put on some Mod Podge onto here because I want it sealed again before we do another layer of colour. If this doesn't go on so smooth, that's fine. It will create more ridges, more texture. That also now needs to dry, of course. Don't you just love these art projects? I'm a very impatient person. I could get the heat gun out, but I'm not going to. I'm going to let things dry naturally, not be as impatient as my tendencies. Back for more purple this time. We're going to go straight on the page with this purple. Look at that colour. Isn't that gorgeous? And then we're going to scrunch it in, particularly over these pattern pieces. Maybe I don't want them quite as bright as they are at the moment. Anywhere I don't want it, I'm just going to come in and wipe it away. So what's happening with this is every time I add a layer, I'm then adding, once it's dry, I'm then adding a layer of Mod Podge. The reason being is acrylic will mix and merge with other acrylics because it's wet on wet at that point, a bit like watercolour. So by letting it dry and then adding the Mod Podge, I'm protecting the layers underneath from that mixing and merging because I don't want it. We've done some different techniques so far using different materials. This time we're going to try red, and we're going to try adding a bit of texture, and the way we're going to add the texture is we're going to cover the whole page with red. I know we've got so many colours on here, but that's okay. So we're covering the whole page with red really quickly, or patches of page actually, maybe not the whole page. I've got some bubble wrap, and this time we're going to lift colour off, hopefully, and see what happens. And if we don't like it, it's created a bit of a textured look, and it's lifted some, maybe not as much as I would like, so let's scrunch it a bit more. Yeah, that's better. And I think that has created some texture on that page. The brush strokes mainly, so maybe didn't achieve what I wanted it to achieve. Therefore, we're going to try a different effect. I'm going to stick some Mod Podge down. Actually, we could try doing the bubble when the Mod Podge is on there. That might work. Let's see what happens if we do this. May not do what I want it to do. It's kind of doing it. Maybe we just need to try and lift it a bit more. Okay, I prefer this side to that side, but it's okay. This isn't fully dried yet. Maybe stippling it. Maybe that'll get an effect. The stippling is getting me some effect of some sort, so let's go with that then. This is super duper red. I don't think I want it to be this red, so back to the yellow and the bubble wrap, and then I'm going to just try seeing what happens when we do that. Not much, just makes a big glob. And get it up. Okay, slightly better. Keep going. Yep. More like it. Gonna get messy here, aren't I? That's okay. Let's get that one down. And down there. Okay, better. Because I don't mind yellow and green mixing, I'm going to green bubble wrap on top of that yellow, or around that yellow, but if it mixes, it mixes. This time I'm going to try brushing that so that we get more clear spots. And straight down the middle. Lovely. How scrummy is this looking? I mean, genuinely scrummy. The only thing I think I'm missing, maybe, is some blue. I know, insane amount of colours. But when I think of India, I think of colour. I'm trying to decide what I want to do, and I think I want to do some lines. I'm going to try getting the card and creating a line on the card, and then sort of create some lines. Maybe I want to go down as well, I think, on the page. I'm attracted to the number 3 a lot. 3 and 2. I think, apart from maybe one down there, yum, and one here, which hasn't really picked up. Let me do that again. That will do for my lines. While the next level of Mod Podge is drying, I want to see if we should paint this, still got Mod Podge on it, with some gold acrylic, old gold, and see what happens. Put more on here and let that dry off. So that worked quite well. I'm quite pleased with that. That's okay. It actually left a pattern on here, so this might be used for something else in future. I'm not sure what yet. I don't think I want to use it with this project. Images then. Thinking about the gypsy spirit, the Romany Indian thing, I thought she was amazing, and I think she's going to be my lady. I also loved this corset, and it kind of fits her. A little bit big. I might have to trim it down a little bit, but if I glue it onto her before I put this down, then I can probably trim around those edges. I loved this. I don't know if it goes with this or not, but I thought that was kind of cool. I also liked her, and I'm not sure if she can fit in on this or not. This was another image I initially cut out in case I didn't want to go with her. This one, and then I've got the caravan, but you could maybe put her in front of it. Is it too much? It could be. I've also just got some things that I thought were fun. I don't know why I like the donkey, I just did. I can't even remember what that means, but it's a Chinese symbol. Fire, I think. The tambourine, so maybe there's a place for that. The hanging lamp. We've got some glitter. Again, I don't know if I will use that. I loved that image, but I don't think it's for here, because you could, like, you know, it would give her so many arms, wouldn't it? But, you know, thinking about Kalimar, lots of arms in Kalimar, so there's no reason why not. Little quote, why do the same as everyone else? It's not going to fit her properly, whatever. So I think if we just put it on the corset itself, then add it to her. The advantage of using the wax paper is obviously you can lift things off here even if they stick onto it, which is an advantage. So let's get this fitting her hip area this side. I need to let that dry. I think I need to cut out the caravan so that that can potentially go down. I think I'm beginning to get some fun ideas together. I've played with that corset and cutting her out a bit more. I'm not going to use the caravan. I've got this, I've cut the centre out, and that makes almost a frame. But I think actually having her dangling from her hand is like a really cool kind of image. To do this as a frame, I need something to put in the frame, like a light. I mean, you could have her from the frame and the light from her hand, that might also work. I do love the idea of she's holding her. Right, that's that one done and needs to dry. So I put a little bit of that gold trim behind her. I think I'm going to paint her, but it's just whether I want to add a few more bits to this before I do that. I think I quite like the word love down there actually. I've cut the tambourine out. It is actually on sticker paper. I will see how well that works. Might be sticky enough to hold. I'm still debating over here what to do. I'm going to start ripping this up. We do have this, and we could make it bigger by lining it with this. Lots of drying time again. And for some reason, I love Donkey. I'm not sure where Donkey goes. I kind of do want to do him there, and part of me's just like, why not? What's it matter? Put him there. Put one on that corner. I think I'm going to put that there. Okay, I'm not a massive fan of this side. I love this side, but I think it's overshadowed now by how big this is. I could either rub it back with some sandpaper, which is tempting, or try to incorporate this image, which I love, but maybe more faded than it actually currently is. So to do that would be a transfer. I'm not going to try and transfer the image direct onto that page. I don't think you can do that. I am going to try to do it by this, which is using sellotape or packing tape. And the way you do it is to get the tape, place it across the picture so that each piece overlaps slightly. Now hopefully this will work. I've never tried this, so who knows, but I've seen others do it. And then I'm going to sit down so I can get that quite close across. I'm not going to worry if there's creases in it because I'm partly doing this to dull this down. I might also get some sandpaper out and take a bit off that. And then what you get is you get your bone folder or whatever you use and you rub and rub and rub and rub. So the idea is by rubbing away, you're going to transfer this print onto the packing tape. It takes a bit of doing, so I will continue to do that. Then when you think you've gone over it all and really got it sealed down, you soak the whole thing in water for 10 minutes. Right, this has been soaking for ages and I have tested it and it does appear to be working. So what you do is you peel the paper from the back and the image should have transferred to the tape, and by peeling the paper off you're making the image more transparent. It won't look the same as the current image in the book. It will look a lot more see-through, so you'll see the background. So you'll have two images, well, 3 images of women, but this big one shouldn't dominate because of the treatment it's undergone. This is a bit of a slow process. You have to keep very, very gently rubbing. If it's cloudy, there's still paper. You have to do it gently, otherwise you might lift the actual image. If it starts to dry up too much, spray it with a bit more water. So you can very gently rub away. This is going to take me some time. This I've overworked in places, but I don't actually mind that. So in other words, I've taken off too much paper, but actually I quite like it. So while it should be an error to have done that, I like it like that. With this, I'm still not happy with it, so we are going to attack it with some sandpaper. I'm hoping to just sort of grunge it up a bit. Let's have a look. Yeah, I like the way it's torn here. That's making it look more organic. I'd love it if I could get some more tearing or tear through or something over here. I'm going to work these edges. Next stage will be to put her down. I was going to put her basically, oops, she's gone a bit over the llama or whatever he is there. I think that's okay though. And then just rub her in. And what you can see is where I've worn the pattern away completely on that arm, which was supposedly an error. You can see through a lot, and then where it's not quite so worn through, you can still see through quite a bit. She is going to fade a little bit into the background, a little bit, and we're going to see how much that dominates this. Now I realise she's really glossy, so when that's dry, the sandpaper will come back in. And I do understand that arm is a bit chopped up, but what I'm thinking is I might be adding some flowers or something over here. We still have some images left. Gypsy Caravan, which you could kind of add over. What I've done here is I've cut round, traced round and cut round the head of the llama and the back and the nose. Okay, not too bad. I thought, obviously don't have much, but we could connect with a small gap deliberately to say the end of that roof. That brings the design over a bit, I think. Yes, it stops short here, but what you're going to do, you can't have it continue forever, can you? Part of me really likes it there. Again, for no reason though. There will be zero reason to put an eye up there. I suddenly realised the way I could connect this to this space would be to use half the steps, and then those lines will draw your eye over to her and then over here. I want to sand this bit down. That is her done, and then if I want to, I can paint it or sand it or do whatever. Right, let's start with, although we have done this, I'm going to rough it up a bit. Now I've got this, of course, I'm going to constantly be using it, aren't I? I don't want to take it off, I just want to give it a kind of worn look. Get some vintage photo, water, paintbrush, that type of thing. Just adding a bit of water to this and over here, and then I'm going to stain this down, and obviously this, I like that. I wanted to potentially get her dress a little whiter. Just use the lid, I think. I'm going to start with it quite watery, and then I can always build up. Tempting though it is to do her sleeves, they are lace currently, and obviously if I paint over them they won't be, but I'm going to do it anyway. But yeah, that makes her pop a bit more, doesn't it? To merge this in a little bit, I'm going to get another distress ink and do some extra bits here. I'm going to go with the green. Okay, I love that. Might throw some green on this as well. Now that the white acrylic has dried up, it's dried up slightly see-through, so you can see that lace. So I think actually I might leave that as is, because she's now standing out a bit more. The eye is probably standing out too much. Seen me doing watercolour and watercolour pencil, and I'm going to have a go at just using a very thin paintbrush this time, because speed. And I'm hoping I can get as much detail using some pouring acrylic and water as I would do on a pencil. I am nearly done. A couple of more things I want to do. I want to get some gold through this because I want it more vibrant. I want to edge this, even though I've edged it with some black acrylic. I think just go around it with an ink pad would also help. I might put a bit of gold over that side, I don't know yet. Definitely put it over this side. So it scrunches down and it goes, doesn't necessarily go as I want it to go, but this time it has. This time it has really gone quite flat. I don't want quite as much as that, so I'm going to knock a bit off. It's more to look like that worn kind of wallpaper, but it happens to be gold effect. It's the next morning. I got to about 3 AM and thought, that's it, I'm done. So it's all dried off and this will no longer come off, which is awesome. I'm going to go around the edges just with a permanent black ink pad. It's not going to make a huge difference, you'll see. You may even think why. It frames it. And then the only other thing I thought I might do, because I'm pretty damn happy with that, I'm not so happy with the eye, but I'll live with it, is using this Sharpie white, and I want to test it's going to work. Now we have a choice. We can either do some dots around the eye, which might work, or around her crown. Really, she's the focal point, not the eye. So I think we're going to go around the crown. Actually going to take it down to there. I genuinely think that's enough. And you could do a second set, but I kind of like the simplicity of that. I consider that done. So the question we were answering was, let me find the thing, because it seems like ages ago now. What or who am I beneath all my roles? Let's just say free-spirited, liberated, bohemian. Yeah, that'll do. I hope you enjoyed this packing tape transfer idea. I think it looks amazing. Do give it a go. I love it. I'm going to be using that a lot more in the future. And if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, like it so others can see it, and leave me a comment to let me know what you think. And I will see you next time.